Good morning on this Memorial Day. Shout out to the gang. Shout out to TT Grease, my fam. What up, y'all? Love y'all niggas. Hey, yo, shout out to Pit TV. We got that episode coming in a week or so. It's gonna be ugly. But let's get back to this Memorial Day. And you know how I feel about it. You ain't old enough to drink, but you old enough to die for the country. And, you know, I think God is a woman, so she gotta be a good soldier, right, homie? Let's get it. Salute to them soldiers, dog. Salute. Off top. Let's go. Teach these juggins. Let's get it.
Odette endured the rest of the war in Ravensbrück, the notorious Nazi concentration camp where up to 100,000 women were killed.
When I was 19 overseas learning how to be responsible, I had seen it. All right, buddy. My whole adult life, I've had Cena. When I was 19 overseas learning how to be responsible, I had Cena. And now I'm 27 and I'm having to say goodbye to one of the biggest pieces of my life.
Elizabeth Barker Johnson waited 70 years for this moment. The 99-year-old finally accepting her college diploma 7 decades after finishing her degree.
Did you ever think this day would actually come?
No. She was unable to walk with her class in 1949 because she already had a teaching job and no one to cover her classroom.
You have been such a trailblazer.
I just knew it was a journey. I wasn't going to give up.
With a life story that sounds like it could be written in a history book, Johnson joined the Army during World War II and was part of the only all-black, all-female battalion stationed overseas. Their job? To deliver mail to the soldiers.
There were almost 3 years of mail that was back there. We were in this building here working with the mail, and they had the chandeliers and those things that just be swinging back and forth over our heads.
Was it because of the bombs dropping?
After the war, Johnson became the first female to attend Winston-Salem State University on the GI Bill.
I am so proud.
And she inspired her granddaughter, Tiffany Scott, to enlist in the Navy.
She just keeps going. She won't stop. So she's just amazing.
A single mother who held down 3 jobs. The family bond here runs deep.
I think Mama was just the type of person that if it was out there, she was going to go after it. She was going to go do it.
At her 99th surprise birthday party, Johnson found out she was finally going to get to walk across that stage.
When they told me I was going to do it, I thought it was a joke.
Does it feel official now?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Another chapter closed of an incredible journey. Odette Sansom is not well known, but she should be. The French native turned British operative was the most highly decorated World War II spy. Now her little-known story is brought to vivid life in a new book.
How did your grandmother have that courage? I think it was instilled in her from a very early age. Her grandfather said, "You must do your duty." And that was throughout her life.
At the time in Nazi-occupied France, female spies were raising less suspicion than their male counterparts. Fluent in both English and French, Sansom was exactly who the Allies needed.
The SOE were really saboteurs. That was their job. They were to blow up the German bridges and ammo dumps and barges and all of those things.
Odette was a courier, the second deadliest job for the Allies. 42% would be killed. Explain to me how dangerous it was on a day-to-day basis. They couldn't stay in the same place. They had multiple identities. Whenever they moved, they were shoulder to shoulder with German officers and Gestapo, right?
Mm-hmm. Odette is sent to Marseille, where it's teeming with German soldiers and Gestapo.
Near death herself when the war ended, Sansom returned home to almost immediate praise and celebrity, a movie made about her heroism.
But we badly need volunteers from now in love front.
As well as medals, becoming the most highly decorated Allied spy, man or woman.
And Odette won them all. The George Cross, Order of the British Empire, the Chevalier de Legion d'Honneur, which was France's highest honor. She cleans up.
As her granddaughter, how proud does that make you feel?
Extraordinarily proud and honoured to carry. My middle name is Odette. I'm extremely honoured to carry that name.
She briefly married Peter, but the wartime romance wouldn't last, nor would the celebrity. Now her story is being revived as an inspiration, not just for Odette's family, but for all of us. Did you ever think to yourself, oh my God, if I was in that situation, I don't know, would I have done it myself?
She was so brave, and it just really showed how horrific humanity can be. And I think it really just shows that with whatever situation, if you just put your heart into it, you can find strength.
Let's see the next one here, y'all. Let's go with
10 people have been wounded in a mass shooting at a bar in Trenton, New Jersey, according to police.
wrong video, y'all.
Without a doubt, Mrs. VZ represents the very best that the city of Raleigh has to offer. Can you imagine in the 1940s a female, particularly an African-American female, abandoning all stereotypes to say that I'm going to do something that's unprecedented. I'm going to serve my country, and I'm going to show that women have the ability to be a part of the armed services in a very meaningful way. In the 1940s and the 1950s and the 1960s, it was not very common to see women engaged in the political process. And so for her to become the first female president of the NAACP, she was a part of that inner circle of political leaders who made it their day-to-day business to seek justice for all people. Mrs. VZ loved St. Augustine's with all of her heart, and she was a dedicated Episcopalian. Her message to me was, Dr. Ward, make certain that you never lose the affiliation with the Episcopal Church. She always was active and engaged in looking to the future. regardless of her age, she was very young at heart. She was on campus once meeting with me, and I said, Ms. Veazey, I want to make sure you are back home, and I'll take you back home. She said, oh, no, you have things to do. You're president of the university. I'll get an Uber, and I'll be fine. 90 plus years old, she's getting an Uber going back home. She taught us that you could always do more, that you could never do enough. She was of that generation that hard work was her best friend. She lived to be 100 years old, and in that 100-year life taught us the meaning of commitment. She taught us the meaning of tenacity, and she taught us the meaning of always be willing to serve. And for that, we're eternally grateful.
Of the military with the lowest percentage of women serving today, by far. The Secretary of Defense made the Marines open combat and infantry roles to females a year ago, but recruiting women into the force has still proven to be a challenge. Caroline Modaresi Tehrani went to Tennessee to find out what the Marines are doing to bring more women into their ranks. Women have served as Marines since 1918, but the Corps, famous for its grueling physical regimen and tough guy image, has never really made a priority of appealing to women. Only around 15,000 women serve as Marines today. The task of boosting the number of female Marines from 8 to 10% falls to this man, Major General Paul Kennedy.
We want somebody that's tough, that is disciplined, that is self-motivated.
Major General Kennedy wants recruiters to search for female candidates the same ways they've been going after men for years, by changing commercials to show more women in action, and by scouting high school sports teams.
I feel like the Marine Corps provided me more than I ever gave to it, even though I tried every day to give 100%.
Lieutenant Colonel Kate Germano was a Marine recruiter and training camp instructor. She thinks the Marines are failing women.
I'm not asking for people to accommodate us. I'm asking for people to hold us accountable to high standards just like we do men.
Germano was controversially fired last year after a Marine investigation found her leadership style abusive. Germano denies this and says she was forced out for publicly blowing the whistle on bad recruiting practices.
Automatically, right off the bat, at recruit training, which is the foundational level of training, we tell women that they can't compete with the men. It sets you up to fail in many, many ways, and it can be a blow to your confidence.
For Marines, basic training is gender segregated, and women haven't had to do everything that men do, like pull-ups. Women are given more time than men to complete the same activities on some training drills.
Ready! Go!
Bree Jackson has wanted to be a Marine since she was 5 years old. In January, she'll ship out for 6 months of basic training.
My parents were like, oh, that's cute. As I got older, my mom's like, all right, this isn't cute anymore. It's not funny. You can't join. When I became 17, it was a little bit of a fight in order to reassure that I'm going to be okay and that this is what I want to do.
The delayed entry program is what every individual, male or female, enlists into. And it's designed to be a year long to give them enough time to mentally and physically prepare to go to training. So if you have an applicant who maybe isn't running as fast as they should be, you're going to put them on the calendar to ship further out on the calendar. So the problem that we have with women is because we're not putting enough women into the pipeline, we're not prospecting enough women, we're left shipping people who are not really given enough time to adequately prepare.
Remain this morning after a deadly shooting.
Wrong video, y'all. My bad.
Of the military with the lowest percentage of women serving.
According to police, after being notified about the gunfire outside the bar around.
Wrong video again, yo. Sheesh.
Southeast over the weekend. Yesterday morning, somebody shot several.
Wrong video again. Excuse me, y'all. Shit. Which one is it?
We commend to Almighty God our sister Millie Dunn Vesey and commit her body to its final resting place.
What was so special about Ms. Vesey was her spirit. She's known for many things, a veteran, a civil rights advocate, but I know her primarily as a follower of Jesus Christ. At the March on Washington in 1963, where Dr. King delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech, she sat beside Dr. King. 3 years later, when Dr. King came to Raleigh, North Carolina in 1966, she hosted him at her house and even prepared a meal for him and showed him hospitality.
Today, by far. The Secretary of Defense made the Marines open combat and infantry roles to females a year ago, but recruiting women into the force has still proven to be a challenge. Caroline Resi Tehrani went to Tennessee to find out what the Marines are doing to bring more women into their ranks.
You can't be quiet to save your fucking life, King.
You ain't recording yet.
I'm not. Look at the camera.
Oh.